What's up, everybody? It's Jasmine, and I'm back with another lunchtime reaction video, but it's not lunchtime, so I'm cheating you all out of the lunchtime experience. But anyway, today I wanted to look at this person that I first heard about on Reddit, and she is Dr. Dray, and she's a dermatologist. And what I was particularly interested in was that she represents something that I think is all too common in society and is a really big problem. Basically, in the beginning, I did a reaction video about Eugenia Cooney and about how she was already sick long before this, long before she got extremely underweight. Like there was a point where she was underweight and people were like, some people are like, oh, she's underweight, she should eat more. And then other people are like, oh, no, she's fine. And I think that there's way too many people that think that being underweight is fine. Like, they don't see it and they just think, like, oh, but, they're healthy. It's better to be skinny and whatever. So, anyway, we're going to watch Dr. Dray, and I have some thoughts and opinions about it. So, let's get started. So, I mean, look at her arms. They're like so small, and her face is, the skin is almost grey, and her cheeks are really sunken in. I mean, it seems like she seems to have perfect skin, except for the fact that it looks very grey, and it looks like she's not getting, nutrients, sunlight, whatever. And I think that it's quite shocking the way that her bones stick out. Okay, so that's basically the video that I wanted to show you, because I think that it's a fairly good example without getting into too much detail about what she does on her channel. But anyway, so in my opinion, she looks like she's underweight, and I can say that because I am technically underweight. I'm not by much. I've got a BMI of 18, so a BMI of under 18.5 is considered underweight, and then once you get 17.5 and below, that's when it's considered sort of, I guess, more severely underweight. And then obviously as you get lower, it's just, a disaster. But anyway, so I can compare myself to her, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't look very good. And it's not about the looks, but what I do think is upsetting is people thinking that she looks fine, that look is something that you don't have to be worried about. Because when I see that, I feel worried for her. I feel like she's not going to be able to live her life to the fullest, because when you are underweight and you're exercising a lot, your mind becomes very sluggish, and you just become numb inside. You don't really experience the world in its reality. Like when I've been really underweight, then the world is just fuzzy. Like you walk around and you don't really experience things. And so when I look at her, I feel like she's probably experiencing that as well. I don't experience that now, but I can say, like, and the other thing is that with women need a higher percentage of fat than men. So when people talk about training and things like that and building up their muscles and things, you still have to have a certain amount of fat on your body for it to function properly. Like if you lose too much fat, your menstruation can stop, and that's you know, when you're going to start messing up all your hormones and things like that. And obviously there's a limit for men as well, and they can experience, you know, the loss of concentration and just not being able to live their life to the fullest. So when I see her like that, I think that people not talking about it makes me feel like she's going to keep going down and down and down to Eugenia Cooney's state, right? And even if she didn't, she should be better than this, you know? Like, even if she stayed this way for the rest of her life, I feel like we shouldn't accept that as normal. You know, we should be saying, like, you know, she's probably not living the best life, and we shouldn't aim for that, because she does videos about exercising and eating and things like this, and so she's showing other people how to live her life, right? And so I feel like she's directly promoting unhealthy lifestyle, because she's saying, like, you know, it's totally okay to be like me, to have gray skin, to be to not have enough fat on your body. And I think that that's wrong. I just do. So if I completely forget about how I feel about her, you know, like if I think, you know, whatever, she can do whatever she wants, she can be her own person. But when I think about other people, you know, I've got to also think about other people and how they might be affected by this. And I think, you know, she is really projecting this lifestyle of fitness and eating that results in a body that is lacking nutrients. And I think that that's wrong, and I'm going to say it. So yeah, I think that people should talk about it more. And if anything, I think that she should stop posting videos about food and exercise, because, you know, she's a doctor, right? And she might think that she's perfectly fine, because when you're unhealthy, like, you know, everybody thinks that they're fine, right? So she's probably thinking like, oh, I do so much exercise and I eat good food, so I'm, you know, I'm great and I've got layers of sunscreen, you know, my life is wonderful, right? That's part of the delusion. So just because she's a doctor doesn't mean that you should listen to her, because we can all be sick. You know, doctors can be sick. They can be awful people. They can be people that are in denial. They can have all sort of psychological problems, you know. So just because you're a doctor doesn't mean that you're an authority on whether or not you are fine yourself. So I think that she's got this doctor tag on her, which gives her even more authority than your average person. And I think that that is super, super, super dangerous. So I really just feel uncomfortable with this situation. And I think that we should talk about it. And, you know, like, I don't know what we can do, but at least if we can talk about it, then we can start thinking about how accepting in society we are of lifestyles that leave us, our body, drained of energy, because, and I think it's because we're so afraid of being fat. You know, I feel like there's so much fear of being overweight that we become so accepting of being underweight, because if overweight is so bad, if overweight is the worst thing, then being underweight, that can't be so bad, right? But it really can be, and that's the message that I want to say. So yeah, I hope you guys found this video interesting. It gave you some food for thought, and I think that I'll probably make some other videos on this later, because my thoughts aren't all cohesive. So I would like to expand on that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys all next time. Hey, door.